Hello, great people. It don't happen, no. China don't chook matter for wetin dey go on between Nigeria and the United States. Wetin China talk, how dem talk am, wetin be the implication of wetin China talk. I go dey touchlight the matter for you on this episode of Politics with Joshua Plug, Dr. Omosholadeji. If you value anything knowledge of politics and international relations, this video is for you because I will be touching on international relation and diplomacy at the very high level. Then I will be going down to international political economy. So we'll be diving into two fields of study: international relation, international political economy. So if you are the type that likes to cut through the noise, if you are the type that loves knowledge, then this video is for you because I will be dissecting everything that is happening between United States and Nigeria, particularly the involvement of China in all of this. Some people are rejoicing. Some people are saying, well, oh, help has come. Has help truly come? Don't worry, at the end of this video, you would know the implication of all this because I will be breaking everything down for you. If you are watching me and you are yet to subscribe to this channel, of course, make sure you subscribe to this channel so that every other person can get to see this video, like it as well, share it to other people. Now, let me start by reading a quote for you from the China government. What did China talk? I think that is a good place to start. Make I read am to you. China talk say, as Nigeria's comprehensive strategic partner, that is China is referring to itself as Nigeria's comprehensive strategic partner. He says, in quote now, I start again. As Nigeria's comprehensive strategic partner, China firmly opposes any country using religion and human rights as an excuse. Take note of that. As an excuse to interfere in other countries' internal affairs and threatening other countries with sanctions and force. Now, let me read another quote for you. It says, China has a clear-cut stance on the United States cracking down on the so-called drug cartels by force in the Caribbean Sea. China supports the effort of combating cross-border crimes through stronger international cooperation and opposes using or threatening to use force in international relations. We stand against moves that undermine peace and stability in Latin America and the Caribbean region and oppose unilateral and excessive enforcement operations against other countries' vessels. We hope the U.S. will engage normal law enforcement and judicial cooperation through bilateral and multilateral frameworks in Nigeria and other countries. Now, you can see what China is saying. It means that China don't get himself involved. You will recall that China is, well, you may say, one of the global powers as well, because China has a very strong economic base and China is emerging fast. But then, can China face the United States? Can China save Nigeria from the United States? Let's dive into deep analysis, my dear people. Now, what I can say first, from my lens as a political scientist, I will tell you from my study of international relations and diplomacy, I will tell you that if you have an issue with the United States, the best place to run to is not China. The best place to run to is not China. And I will give you the reason why in the later part of this video. But take note of this thing, because what I'm about to say next will help you to understand it better. If you have an issue with the United States as a country, the best place to run to is not China. And let me give you some examples before I come back to Nigeria and Africa. Let me go to other parts of the world. Let me pick examples from there to back up my point. First, China backed Iran. China declared support for Iran. Yet, U.S. bombed the nuclear facilities in Iran, despite the support of China, despite the condemnation, the warnings of China. U.S. went ahead to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities and nothing happened. U.S. is the country that usually talks and acts. U.S. doesn't talk without acting. And in this government of Donald Trump, a lot of what we can call external intervention, or if you like, external invasion has taken place without the consent of the countries where those invasions took place. So this is not the first time that the United States is doing it under Donald Trump. And China has always been issuing statement upon statement, and this is just how far China can go. And that is why I said, if you have a problem with US, don't involve China, because China can really not give you the significant help that you need other than issuing press statement. Let me give you another example. I've given you the example of Iran. Let me give you like 3-4 more examples. China backed Afghanistan. China supported Afghanistan. At the end of the day, the US still dealt with Afghanistan. China backed Iraq. The US still invade Iraq. In fact, that one of Iraq now was passed because I've conducted a research with some of my colleagues about the US invasion of Iraq. And if I tell you the extent and the impact of that invasion, you will cry for that country. Until now, Iraq is yet to recover. So China backed Iraq. The US invaded Iraq. China was not able to do anything significant for Iraq. So you can see that China doesn't go beyond lip service. Another country is Libya. China backed Libya. At the end of the day, you saw what happened during the Gaddafi era. Despite the fact that China backed the country, that didn't stop the United States. So I pity the Tinubu boys. I pity the sympathizers of the government and APC that are rejoicing that, oh, China is now speaking. You are only deceiving yourself. I will tell the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu the best way to approach it in the later part of this video. But if you are rejoicing, oh, China has issued statement and all that, you are just deceiving yourself because China cannot do any significant help for you. And in the later part of this video, you will get what I'm saying the more. Let me give you more examples. Now, I've given you the example of Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and Iran. Let me stop there. But to push it further, the United States have invaded countries like Panama, Grenada, and nothing has happened. So definitely China cannot do much to help these countries. What China can do is to help you with military gadgets. But then will China be able to help you? There's one thing to have money. There's another thing to be able to spend money. Having money and being able to spend money are two different things. China has the military might, but China have been using it largely to protect itself. So can China help Nigeria when it matters most? To my mind, it is the United States that if you're an ally of the United States can wake up and say, we are supporting you with $20 million worth of military infrastructure. Just like that. You saw what happened during Joe Biden era, the immediate past president of the United States, the assistance he gave to Ukraine when Russia invaded the country. But China barely gives such significant military backup. So to those people that are rejoicing based on the instance and the trajectory of actions of the Chinese government, definitely nothing is going to come out of it because the US invaded these countries that are listed, that I have listed, and funded military operations in some other countries. So China won't wage war against America because of Nigeria. Let us go to another realm of thinking now. China, is it possible that China will fight the United States because of Nigeria? The question is no. When Trump was imposing tariffs on China, did China fight the United States? No. At the end of the day, they eventually went into dialogue with the government of Donald Trump. So what you will see is that China won't fight war, will not war America because of Nigeria. China that did not engage into war with America because of Iran, because of Iraq, because of Afghanistan, because of Libya. Is it that China that will now go into war with the United States because of Nigeria? It is definitely not possible. So if you are rejoicing that help has come your way because China don't chook mouth for the matter, my dear brother and sister, you just deceive yourself. Now let us go into another thing that is worth reviewing, which is that China has no concrete backing like that of the United States. Other prominent countries, other global powers, they are allies of the United States. Other countries that have strong military might, majority of them are allies of the United States. Germany, Belgium, France, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. These are countries that are allies of the United States. So let us imagine that another world war, God forbid, evolved, and what led to that world war is the issue of Nigeria. Let's imagine that the US invade Nigeria and China decide to support Nigeria. Then it now led to war, and these countries, their allies, now decide to back them. The truth is that if you combine the military might of United States, combine it with that of UK, combine it with that of Germany, with that of France, with that of Canada, with that of Australia, New Zealand, and some other countries in Europe, the Schengen countries, NATO is also there. If you put all this together, definitely you cannot compare it to the military might of those that will be backing China. Russia may support China, North Korea may align with China, but add all their military might together, it doesn't add up to that of the United States and its allies. So definitely you would see that China has no concrete backing like that of the United States in case the US attack Nigeria and it now leads to a full-scale war that if China intervenes, definitely the US will still defeat, because those that are backing the United States, their military might is greater than those that China can get support from. So what I can say is that from this explanation that I've given to you, China cannot do anything much to help Nigeria. China can't go. China can't do more than releasing all these strong-worded statements. They can't really do more than that. Another thing they can do is maybe they can support Nigeria with military training. Some of the Chinese soldiers can come to Nigeria, train Nigeria military, or maybe they can support Nigeria with military gadget and support. That is one thing that we need to look at. Now, I've spoken about the international relation and diplomacy. Let me quickly touch on the international political economy. Now, China, whether China likes it or not, even if na eye service, China must speak in support of Nigeria, because Nigeria is China's biggest economic partner in Africa. China is the biggest economic partner, or Nigeria is China's biggest economic partner in Africa. Why? Because Nigeria has the population. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, and anywhere there's population, there's market. What is the market? The people. Anywhere where people many, definitely you go sell something there and you go make a lot of money. Nigeria has over 200 million population. That population transmutes into market, and China is largely a production country. That's why if you look around, you will see made in China, made in China, made in China. So China is a country that produces, and they need the market to be able to meet the to be able to turn their production into funds. They need the market. And in Africa, Nigeria comes first. Another thing as regards the international political economy is that the US may be aggrieved, and China has nothing. China has no other option than to defend Nigeria, because Nigeria has introduced Chinese language in its schools to the advantage of China. The Dangote refinery is working, and that has led to less patronage from some of the oils that is being refined in the United States. And another thing is that China has to defend Nigeria, at least verbally, because China cannot afford to lose its loans and investment to US invasion. China has a lot of loans in the hands of the Nigerian government, where they don't borrow Nigerian government. There's a lot of Chinese companies, Chinese inverters, Chinese solar panel, Chinese products, Chinese phones, a lot of Chinese investment in Nigeria. So China cannot afford to lose all this, and that is why, whether China likes it or not, even if na eye service, they have to come out and speak and stand with Nigeria at a trying time. But beyond that, trust me, China's intervention or statement cannot do much to save Nigeria. Nigeria should dialogue with the United States, take concrete action, that the world will see that you are really serious about tackling insecurity. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Joshua Blog. Subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos. See you in my next video. I love you all sincerely.